I now see things from very different perspectives because of the gender. Like, I used to get like, oh, are you carrying those drums for somebody? You shouldn't be carrying those. Like, where's your boyfriend or whatever? Like, I should stick to a girl's instrument and girls shouldn't play drums. Like, obviously that shit goes away.
This is Sean Bilodeau, or if you were one of his students, you'd call him Mr. B. He's a teacher at Holliston High School in Massachusetts, and as far back as he could remember, he always wanted to be a drummer.
I didn't do it because I wanted to be the best. I wanted to do it because it gave me joy. My dad, he was a drummer. He always used to tell me he would, put me in the high chair to eat, and I would start kind of like rocking back and forth. My dad never gave me formal lessons, and he never pushed it on me. I'd be like, oh, Dad, can you show me whatever, and I was listening to music constantly. My favorite toy was not a toy, it was a record player. The band director, when my mom was like, hey, my kid wants to switch from orchestra to band to do drums, went on this nice little rant about how just because somebody drums at the kitchen table doesn't mean they have any talent, and that I should stick to a girl's instrument and girls shouldn't play drums. And the band director, the next year, was like, oh, hey, you should join jazz band, and you should do... It's okay, thanks, buddy, there. But I think now that I'm, saying that, that was something very much my dad, I guess, instilled in me was, okay, they're going to say no. Do it so well that they're going to have to come back and ask you to do the thing.
Shawn could do the thing so well that he became a professional drummer in Los Angeles.
I was playing, and one of the guitarists was like, hey, I like the way you play. And I'm like, thanks. And he's like, I need somebody to be a session drummer in my studio. You want to come try? And on the inside, of course, I'm like, oh my God, this is the thing that I've waited for. And on the outside, I'm like, yeah, that sounds great.
Not long after moving to LA, Shawn broke his back in a freak one-car accident, leaving him incapacitated for weeks.
Because of that, I was left with an incredible amount of chronic pain. That's when I started to become addicted to painkillers, because I could not function any other way.
Shawn continued to struggle with physical pain, addiction, and another issue that had been plaguing him since he was a child, known by the name of Laura Bilodeau.
Even though, like I said, my early childhood especially was very happy, I still knew, 2 years old, that I was a guy. I didn't have words for it, but, I knew. That's just it. It got to the point where I literally just couldn't take it anymore. I started to see other people transition, and I was like, oh, wait, I'm not the only one. People are doing this, and it's they look happy. Okay, I think I need to, not I think I need to do this, but I'm gonna lose everything.
So by this time, Bilodeau was back east to teach at Holliston High, and he still hadn't transitioned, he found inspiration from an unlikely source.
Don't get me started on Caitlyn Jenner, but I do give her this. She gave her Vanity Fair interview, and one of the things she said was, I don't want to be on my deathbed, laying there, thinking to myself, that's it, you just blew your whole life. And like, I heard her say that and was like, that's it, I can't take this anymore.
He was accepted by his wife and parents, but he feared the inevitability of coming out to his principal and superintendent.
Oh crap, how am I gonna do this? Not only at school, it's one thing like if you've already transitioned and then come into a job, but like I'm literally gonna have to do this in front of everyone. I remember going into Principal Bottomley's office and being like, so, I'm trans. I don't know how we do this. And she's like, I don't know how we do this either, because like I was literally like the first one. She's like, let's call Brad, Dr. Jackson. So we did, and I talked to him, and I remember sitting in his office, and Bottomley was with me because I asked her to come with me because I was petrified. I'm like shaking, like I remember just shaking, and I told Dr. Jackson, and he put his hand out and he shook my hand. He said, well, welcome to Holliston Public Schools, Shawn. So I stopped shaking and was like, all right, they're going to help me do the thing, so I'm going to do it. And then I did it.
In spite of support from family, friends, colleagues, and students, Shawn continued to struggle with his demons.
So after I had started my transition in 2015, I was still like pretty messed up, like pain-wise. So I was driving home and the pain got completely unbearable and I passed out. And the next thing I remember is just this huge bang and white light. And I remember sitting there going, what the fuck just happened? And also, am I dead? Like, simultaneously at the same time. Myself and a truck collided head on. Should have probably died. Shout out to Subaru with that one.
Shawn's injuries kept him out of school for 3 months, but the pain didn't stop there.
That's when the pain and the addiction got really, really, really bad because I couldn't cope with the fact that I did this to my body. I couldn't cope with the fact that everything hurt. I couldn't even cope with the fact that my transition was taking too long. Like, I just couldn't cope with anything. And I hated myself. Like, there was still this huge amount of self-hatred. And I had actually overdosed. And should have died. Like, passed out in the bathroom, hit my head. Brought to the hospital. And it was Principal Bottomley who called me in the hospital and was like, I can't remember her exact words because I was pretty messed up, but it was just, don't do this, please don't do this. And she always said, like, sometimes people need to hear things like 100 times before they actually like make a change, and like she was my 100th.
Shawn's been sober since 2016 and made it through a successful transition.
It's night and day. I don't feel like I'm a walking like shell of a human. I had major depression problems prior to it, like, gone. People see who I've been all along, which is, like, as you're transitioning, like, you start to, what we call, like, passing. So when that started to happen consistently, like, that was, like, mind blown, just pure happiness.
Describe your philosophy on life. What would it be?
Do the thing. Just do the